Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long day. I got up at 4 a.m. to get here, and of course my flight was delayed. Every time I go to a conference, there is some kind of a sabotage, whether it's a blizzard or flight cancellation, but I made it, I made it anyway. So, I have a lot of interesting information to give you today. Information that I have not done outside of my immediate group of people from my website. Some of it might be a little bit outrageous to you, but as you know, I am not politically correct. And I never will be. And I also have a very strange sense of humor, so you will have to bear with me on that as well. And as was mentioned, yes, my family history is a bit sordid. My great-uncle Yakov, yes, he was the first president of the Soviet Union. His brother Benjamin Sverdlov started mind control and programming in the Soviet Union in the 1930s, and that is why, because of that background, I was taken here in the United States to be used in the Montauk Project. My grandmother was a Soviet spy, so you're getting the image, yes, of especially why my family here in the United States was very much monitored by the U.S. government, and why I was taken into service in Montauk Point. Another interesting fact, which I never really talk about too much because it is politically incorrect, is that my first cousin once removed, Alexei Sverdlov, who was the son of Yakov, actually started KGB. And so this also led me wherever I go to be followed by them, especially in Russia, Eastern Europe, and so forth. And so, but I do get a lot of good information from them. So, and they have many times asked me to come back to Russia, you know, maybe I will someday, but I don't think I'll do it right now. But you see up there on the screen the word Kuiper Belt, and I am not sure if many of you are familiar with that term. If you look at this picture in the image, and hopefully you can see it clearly enough, you will see that the Kuiper Belt is basically a region which surrounds our solar system. And that is the reason why the planet Pluto several years ago was reclassified to either a Kuiper Belt object or a planetoid. Now, if you look at this map, you will also see that Neptune is at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. So why wasn't Neptune reclassified as such an object? You may recall, those of you who read my website for several years, that back in 2007, 8, etc., 9, NASA was reporting objects appearing in this Kuiper Belt region that looked strange to them. And almost every week, there would be 2 or 3 different objects that would be appearing. When it became very suspicious and people were questioning the news and asking why, and what are these objects? That is when they reclassified Pluto as a cover to say, well, these objects were always there, we just didn't know they were there. But I will tell you that the Kuiper Belt right now is amassing a very large fleet of objects that are not necessarily from our space-time. And when I say that, you may recall also NASA reporting for the last couple of years large objects emerging from our sun and then moving out towards what is the Kuiper Belt. And so we know from close-up observation and digital analysis that these objects that came from the sun were artificial. In some cases, you can even see windows, you can even see equipment on these vehicles. And they're huge. Some of them are almost the size of our planet. If you learn about interdimensional science and about galactic work, you will know that a black hole in one universe is a star in another universe, and vice versa. This is how energy is exchanged between universes, and energy is balanced throughout creation. And you can learn more about this in my simultaneous existence work. So these objects that are coming in or passing out through the sun, these are actually going through a vortex, if you will, a black hole in one universe coming in through our sun here. Now, there's something else you should know about the sun, because people think, well, is the sun so hot, wouldn't that burn up the objects? And the answer to that is the sun is actually not hot, and I know that sounds loony-toony to you, but it's cold fusion. Think about something. I'm sure many of you have gone in an airplane, yes? And it could be very hot on the surface of the ground, and then you take off. And if you look at the monitor, you can see, especially on international flights, they do this. As soon as you go into the atmosphere, it's way below zero, 50, 60, 70 below zero. Now think about it. You're going up, literally, closer to the sun. Why does it get colder? Shouldn't it get hot? And if the sun is hot, shouldn't space, interstellar space and the solar system space, shouldn't be warm out in space? But yet it's hundreds of degrees below zero. Why? Because it is not hot. The sun is not hot. It's just light. And what creates the heat on the Earth is our atmosphere and the light refracting through the atmosphere and then reflecting off the surface of the planet, which is why it's only warm at the surface. And as higher you go, it gets colder. So keep that in mind. And what you learn